All right, welcome back to the PricePlow podcast. Today it is January 8th, and we're here with Arla Foods Ingredients. I want to welcome Sebastian Poulsen to the show, but also I want to bring everyone's attention. We've got drinks today. We've had these drinks in our refrigerator for about a month now. It's a variety of different Arla Foods drinks, which we're really excited to show off different capabilities and different opportunities with the different applications here. But Sebastian, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Arla and what we're getting into today?
Yeah, sure. And thank you so much for having me. So at Arla Food Ingredients, I'm working as an application scientist and have been doing so for 2 years now. And prior to that, I actually worked at our factory, our main factory in the middle of Jutland in Denmark here as well, in a more engineer-focused position. So now, in my current position, I'm working with everything beverage-related, be that ready to drink or ready to mix. And then I support all of the Americas as my market share. And my background is actually within medicinal chemistry, which might be a little far off if you think about it. But I discovered working for Arla Food Ingredients that it's actually very close to the food industry. There's a lot more, what do you call it? There are a lot of same areas in the two industries. That I wasn't expecting beforehand. So very positively surprised about that. And I discovered that for the last 10 years or so, the food industry has been becoming a lot more farmer-like, which I think is a great thing because that ensures quality, and our research and development capabilities is really increasing compared to 20 years ago. And today I brought a lot of samples, mostly utilizing our ingredient BLG, which is pure beta-lactoglobulin, one of the major whey components in whey. So it's a singular protein isolated from the whey stream, which carries some unique benefits, both nutritional-wise and also application-wise. And that's what we are kind of going to go through today together.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if anyone hasn't heard it, we were first introduced to BLG or beta-lactoglobulin in episode 108 with Preston here, who's also here, and Jacob. So today, the focus is on beverage, and that's what we really want to learn about is how do we get proteins into beverages. We make the joke a lot on this podcast that back in the day we had the IsoPure clear drinks and they were phenomenal for like the time. But as we got better with like mixable protein shakes from powders, those RTD beverages kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. And now Arla has these new ingredients that actually work in the beverages again. So we're kind of like trying to bring this back, and we're noticing that your clear isolates and the BLG work phenomenally. So we have a nice tasting panel I think we're going to do here, but I also want to like learn like what are some best practices for beverages and how and basically teach us all the stuff that you've learned through medical chemistry and medicinal chemistry and what you've learned at Arla Foods Ingredients.
Yes. So oh, I'm sorry, can I have the question again?
No, there was no question. So basically, I guess take us through a brief introduction into what are some like mistakes that get made and and then followed into best practices. If we want to start from scratch, we have a growing brand. We maybe already have an energy drink or something. So we got some room on the fridge shelves, and a lot of people are asking for something different, something new, and we want to come out with an RTD protein shake. We would like to pitch a clear one, maybe. Like, where do we even begin?
So I think the first thing we want to do is find the right raw material, right? So you want the right ingredient for your application. And I know there's a lot of a lot of manufacturers out there providing whey proteins, but you gotta find the right one, and you gotta find the one with the right quality and the right taste. And that's where I think AFI, Arla Food Ingredients, really stand out, because we have been doing this for 40 years now, focusing a lot of quality, a lot of consistent quality, and also innovation. And that's where we stand out a lot compared to the competition. So finding that raw material first is of course the good step. And then I see a lot of people doing the same mistake. They don't understand the chemistry of the proteins in depth enough to do a product like this. So it actually takes a lot of knowledge about protein chemistry, formulation, and processing to do a product like this right, because you have a lot of different parameters that can vary when you process applications like this. You have a lot of different constituents in your beverage that can interact in ways you don't really want them to. So you need to be in control of, I would say, everything in the process. One thing I see a lot of people doing, and that is actually always the first thing I ask about, is they do not control the pH, right? So I don't know how much you know about pH, but that's basically how acidic an application is. Mm-hmm. Is it high acid or is it low acid? And with the protein, you really need to be in control of that. We provide some different ingredients that can be used in the clear beverage space, some that are high acid and some that are low acid. And you need to be in control of that pH to get the right clear and stable formulation. So people not always control this right, and it can make a difference between something that looks milky and something that gel like the sample you have received, and then something that is smooth and clear and tastes right.
People might be surprised hearing that proteins are acidic in some drinks or and not in others. Could you explain why some protein RTDs or some RTDs in general are acidic and why some are not?
Yeah, for sure. So mostly that's going to be the sensory preference and the taste preference from the producer's point of view, and also the end consumer, of course, right? So people might be used to sodas and they want something that reminds them of that same sensory experience, maybe the same taste. In a Fanta, they're used to a high acid application that tastes like orange. If you want to make that with protein as well, you need to kind of match that association to a high acid with the flavor. So you go with a high acid protein to do that application as well. And then for other applications, you can go in a completely different direction, right? We have some samples with a neutral pH clear RTD that are made with a cucumber mint flavor. That's just something completely different, right? And no people associate that with a high acid or strongly acidic flavor. So that one you need to be neutral pH, tasting like water, flavored water.
Got it.
Okay, so if we're trying to design something, we first kind of do we start with the flavors almost like do we decide I want to have there's creamy chocolate and milk, chocolate and vanilla type flavors, cookies and creams, or we decide we want to go clear. Like I imagine that's like the first decision you make, and then if you want to go clear, then before talking about like acidity control, it really is it flavor that's the next thing that you really discuss.
I would say I'll always ask, do you want it to be milky or clear? And then if you want it clear, do you want it to be high acid or low acid? That's the determining factor for which ingredient that's going to be right for you. And then the sensory and the taste that really follows along, because you need it to fit that application.
Okay, if I'm talking to you on the phone and you said, do you want it to be high acid or low acid? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, how would I be able to answer that question?
So I would ask you, do you want it to be more like a soda pop or something that you know, right? Or more like a flavored water, those watermelon flavored waters. Do you want it to be more like that or like a soda? I think most people can relate to that. And then take it from there.
Okay. And so, do we have samples of both different?
No, I think you actually only got acidic ones.
Okay. And that's, to jump in on that, that's because BLG right now for beverages, we're only doing high acid in a beverage, right, Sebastian?
Yeah, exactly. So BLG is a fairly new ingredient. We have only launched it in 22 or 21, I think it was. So we're still looking into what are we actually able to do with it. It will come. We'll look more into the neutral applications. But for now, it's only in the ready-to-mix that we are selling this.
Right. Okay, gotcha. And you do have an application center that can come and we can pull you in and you can support some of this as we're making these decisions. Yes. Is it possible to have, okay, so if we want to do like a real watery cucumber mint flavor, that's going to be most likely not a BLG then, because BLG is mostly acidic, or?
I mean, if it's the right customer, of course we can do some trials, trying out the neutral BLG. But otherwise, I would suggest our WPI, that's neutral pH, the ice water. as a first step because we have worked with that a lot. And we
Right,
tried
ISO
that out
water
first.
is the more the less acidified type stuff. Okay, so then we're going to go down the BLG rabbit hole there, and I say, actually, I want to pack as much protein as I can, as much leucine as I can into this application because people aren't wanting to drink as much fluids lately. Maybe they're overly satiated from certain drugs or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's a bodybuilder application, muscle growth application. We're just slamming leucine, or we're trying to get as much leucine and protein into an old woman as possible or old man as possible because they just don't eat enough protein as we age and everything. So in that case, you're going to start thinking, okay, these guys want to slam a lot of protein in as little space as possible. That's where we start looking at BLG, right?
Yes, exactly. Because that's really one of the unique benefits of BLG. It's not actually something we are able to do with other WPIs or hydrolysates like that. You can really only do something, with the BLG, you can go to upwards of 23% protein actually. And that's the only ingredient besides strongly hydrolyzed protein that you will be able to do this with. So it is very unique.
So when you say 23% of protein, the bottle itself, like the total volume is 23% of protein, or your product's 23% of protein? I still need to add water.
The mass of the that bottle, 23% of that is going to be protein.
That's awesome. So you can get a lot of protein then into a very small bottle.
Yes, exactly. And that, like you said before, it's perfect for elderly people who might not want to drink that much or eat that much to get that protein they need to sustain the muscle mass. Also that bodybuilder who needs a lot of protein, who wants a lot of protein. Also those medical patients who can't actually drink anything. So really unique.
All right.
Awesome. And how big are these? These are 3
That's
ounce?
100 mil. That's going to be what? 2.9?
So around 3 ounces.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
going to be 21 grams of protein in the bottles that you have right now.
Really?
We're going to get a lot of protein in today.
Dude, that's fantastic though. The amount you could pack into these bottles, I think impresses me. I haven't had this many to taste though. So, Ben, you're gonna drink all of them?
I'm gonna, yeah,
You
I'm
have
gonna
to.
chug each one.
Okay, so that's kind of where we start talking about BLG, and then you're most likely dealing with the more acidic flavors at the current moment, at least. I'm sure your team seems to be developing a lot of stuff all the time, though. And so, like right now, I'm holding a pink grape flavor. Is that how is that kind of developed?
So these concept samples is something that we develop, of course, to show our capabilities to people at the trade shows or when we go to visit customers. So it just starts with a concept group in a marketing department and AS&T, the application science technology team that I'm part of. And then we get together, we look at the market, what do they actually see an interest in. We look at positioning and stuff like that. And then I go to the lab, I start doing some lab benchtop trials, and then we put in the pilot and see what do we get.
I think we should start cracking into these. They're numbered. So do you have a certain way that you want to talk through these, or should we just go 1 through 7?
I think at least in the beginning we should compare number 1 versus number 2.
Okay.
That's really going to be comparing, let's say, the standard acidified clear WPI versus the BLG.
Yeah. And it's 1 through 3 is BLG and 5 through 7 are lac pro dance. So it seems like there's 2 different conversations overall too.
No, so it's actually all BLG besides number 2. Number 1. Everything else is BLG. So Lacrodance is just
I'm looking at the wrong. Yeah.
a pre name.
HTST is just okay. I understand now.
Yeah, that's the processing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
I think I'll just let you know what's the difference actually. So same recipe, everything in number 1 and 2, just that the protein source has been changed. So number 1 is standard clear acidified WPI. Number 2 is the BLG-100 acidic. They look very similar, but the taste is gonna be, I would say, different.
The pasteurized is a little bit clearer, I noticed.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's also something you see with BLG. It will be clearer. It will be able to handle that high concentration better.
You're muted, Mike.
I like that. So I just drank number one.
Mm-hmm.
I almost get a fruity cereal vibe is what I was smelling at first, and I know it's not. This is oh man, we're gonna have a lot of protein today. These are easy to chug.
Have you had number 2 yet, Mike?
No.
Okay. I'm hoping that he wants us to say that number 2 is a far better experience.
I was
It
hoping
is.
for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it absolutely
Because
is.
I would
What-
feel bad to talk badly. I mean, that is a remarkable difference between
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
I will say that I got more flavor out of number one. So, but number 2 is more enjoyable because it's easier to drink. And for whatever reason, it almost it tastes colder. If that makes
Cool.
any sense. Maybe I don't know. They're all refrigerated together. It just seems like it's a little bit colder in my mouth,
It's
which
a
I
more
found.
refreshing flavor for sure.
It is,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it's just that.
And there's a lot less astringency. I feel like the
Right.
astringency probably gives you, it makes the flavor like stay on your tongue longer. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why you're seeing more flavor. But like, it's a, without the astringency, it is so much crisper, and so it's a way more enjoyable experience.
And with that,
that's-
Ben, that kind of gets back to the initial conversation we had of, I guess, clear proteins of the past versus where they can go now. And this is a prime example. So think of the first one, number 1, that you mentioned, a little more astringent. That's traditional clear proteins in the market of now and in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see the difference on BLG and what it brings with the true value of BLG is the taste panel, taste profile, mouthfeel. So, and keep in mind, Sebastian mentioned, these are the exact same recipe. So they're both yielding 5% protein. The only difference is the protein itself. So still same protein, still same flavors, but you notice that mouthfeel difference. So that's what BLG offers to this category.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even explain to anyone who's listening right now how much of a difference that was.
Yeah.
That was really wonderful. Thank you.
No, it's what I would say is number 2 is very chuggable. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to have, I can't say no one, but in my opinion, no one would really have a big problem just drinking this whole thing. Like, this solves a lot of problems.
It's
Well,
smooth
the
going
cool thing
down to
about the BLG is it almost flirts with that line where we talked about neutral versus acidified earlier. And this is another prime example that you get that, even though it is acidified, you get that clean mouthfeel, almost water-esque. So as you mentioned, it seemed less flavored than the first one. It's not so much it's less flavored, it's just the drinkability of it. So you could flirt with that cucumber melon or watermelon vibe on that and almost mirror what the ISO water does, but it would still be acidified, if that makes sense.
I see so many applications for this.
Yeah, so I have a question. In terms of like stability, once the bottle is opened, is there a possible issue with it like degrading or anything like that?
Not with degradation of the protein, if that's your question. That's only going to be microbiology, because now you're opening it up to the atmosphere, right? So that's going to be like everything else that you open and eat it or drink it within the next few days at the most. But it's shelf life when it's unopened.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
shelf
so
life
I'm wondering,
stable.
like, you know how, Preston, we have, like, the glycerol liquids
Yeah.
that are kind of popular and everything? Like, what if I don't want to, like, buy a bunch of plastic bottle shots, but instead wanted to sell a bigger jug that you pour 3 drinks out of per day or whatever, and then you've just added 60 or more grams of protein, like, out of the same jug, just saving on materials and being able to buy a bigger thing. Is that possible?
I see your idea, and I mean, keeping it refrigerated will do a lot, right? Because it's only going to be micro that's going to be the limiting factor, and you might want to add some preservatives into it as well if that's your plan. That's also going to help a lot. So of course, it's possible, yeah.
Okay. Just a big old BLG jug.
Yeah,
If someone steals that name, I'll be upset.
a
get
gallon
royalty.
of BLG.
No, okay. Yeah, because, I mean, opening, I'm thinking about the elderly audience too, and I don't know, ripping open these bottles, you have to kind of be careful with that and everything, but making a pourable type of jug might be a cool application.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun. Well, either way, yeah, it's impressive. Yeah, what I would do is probably if I compared 1 and 2, I would dial the flavor up on number 2, but that's like, not a big deal, obviously, having tasted number 1, but it's remarkable.
Sebastian, you said that this is the same formula, just different protein sources, right? So that's the same amount of flavor there. That is really remarkable. Yeah.
I think flavor companies, they know a lot more about this, but the pH is also going to be determining how to actually experience that flavor. And the pH is a little different between those two. And that's actually what's going to give that less of a feeling of astringency. So if you increase the pH, then you'll get lower astringency. But that's not something you can do with a classic WPI, because then you're going to get something turbid. You're going to get something that's not stable. But that's unique for BLG, that you can actually go a little higher in pH.
Yeah. I also see a lot of opportunities because this isn't your traditional Tetra Pak style protein, whey protein drink, that a lot of more manufacturers can utilize this without needing septic manufacturing, which can get a lot more clear protein out into the market when people have issues like finding sourcing. This is going to be a lot easier to get to. You guys have a whole application team that can help them put it together.
Yeah, we have.
There's a lot more opportunities.
Well, yeah. Can someone explain to the audience the aseptic manufacturing? That's when you have to heat it, right? Is that?
So all of these are actually heat treated.
Okay.
That's just a standard that we're doing, and that's the standard for the market and has been for many years. And then actually we do a aseptic filling or something that's very close to that, and that's typically what our customers would do. A lot of customers are also doing hot fill. That would be filling the bottle at temperatures above, what is that in Fahrenheit, but above 85 degrees Celsius, just to sterilize that bottle when you fill it in. And then you can do the aseptic filling, where you have a sterilized bottle, you fill it in, and you have something keeping your matrix aseptic. Then we also see on the market now that people are doing cold processing. So they're actually not heating it at all, the matrix. They're just adding preservatives into it, thereby limiting microbiological growth and keeping that matrix shelf life stable.
Okay, so where are there certain trends that you're seeing more frequently? Like, I know there's been a push back against all the preservatives, but then in the mass market stuff, it seems like you're still getting plenty of them.
Yeah, and I think the last year we've seen a lot of growth in that preservative processed applications compared to the heat processed ones, and I think that's a lot to do with the capacity at the TPMs and the co-mans that are really hard to find right now in the market, especially in the US. So people are turning to something new that they wouldn't otherwise use, like the preservatives, and it seems to be working really well.
What are the standard preservatives, like potassium sorbate, that kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And sorbate and benzoate would be the standards, and then we see some of the mushrooms extracts coming up, some natural preservatives like Lanxess and Agado is one of them that we've seen in use in the market.
Cool. And some of the foods I've been seeing rosemary extract as a natural preservative. I've been wanting to look up what chemicals being extracted out of there to do the job too. So that's foods. I'm not sure if that would work in a beverage application for you.
Don't know. I have never heard about that one as a preservative.
I will have to follow up.
But interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, something in rosemary. I think it was Bob's Red Mill, like the oatmeal bars or something they have.
Okay.
So I'll look into it. Cool. Okay, should we continue, or what's
Yeah, sure.
any other comments
I
here?
think the next sample you should have is the high protein shot, right, with BLG. So that's going to be 21% of protein, so 21 grams of protein in that little bottle in your hand with a green apple flavoring.
Wow, that smells amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's candy.
It's got
Definitely
some mouthfeel to
thicker,
it.
as expected,
Yeah.
because
It's
you're
thicker, yeah.
running a lot more protein.
But what we actually see during the shelf life, in our standard evaluation, we'll check up on these samples for half a year, looking at turbidity, the clarity, how see-through is it, the viscosity. We will look at different temperatures, at fridge temperature, room temperature, and elevated temperatures, and it remains remarkably stable throughout that half year. and it will keep that low viscosity.
It's not bad at all, though. I mean, it's higher protein. You'll know that it's different, but it's tasty. I would drink this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the unique thing on that one, we talked about leucine earlier, that shot at the 21 grams, that's going to hit right around 3.2 grams of leucine in that bottle.
Wow.
So
Exactly.
small amount for protein synthesis in there.
Of course,
Sweet.
that's
Preston, is this what you had on display at Supply Side West?
Yeah, so this one's a little bit different. This one was heat processed, right, Sebastian?
yeah.
But we did at Supply Side West, so anybody listening that was there and maybe tried them, we did a production run with MacroCap in the U.S. where they did actually a cold fill with preservatives to Sebastian's topic just a few minutes ago with the BLG-100 and the 21-gram shot. So that's kind of the cool thing about it. It can be done with a standard heat process or with the preservatives as well.
Okay. Can you repeat which one this is versus which one was at Supply Side West?
That's
This
the heat
is
treated
the
one.
heat process. Heat treated.
Okay.
Wow. So I have to ask, this is thicker. It's a little bit more viscous. Is this next one? Is this what happens when you go too far with it, or how, what do you got here?
So the next one you have got, not just Preston, sorry. That's just like before, comparing 1 and 2. That's the BLG versus the 9213 or the standard WPI. So that's what happened at the same protein concentration if you try to heat treat that one instead of the BLG. So you will just see that matrix completely gelling up, being firm like crazy.
So basically, it's showing that BLG is the only one that can go up to that percentage of protein. Because if you did it with like a standard WPI product, you would just get that.
Yeah.
Can we drink
This
this?
has not been tested, right? We shouldn't eat this.
Don't eat it.
I don't know. I want to eat it now. The stubborn kid in me. That's okay. So that's interesting. That's a really cool proof of concept. Basically, my bottle. I don't know how yours is. My bottle, like, basically just trying to explode out of the bottom.
Out
You know?
of the bottom,
Yeah. Right out of
Yeah.
the. That's fun.
awesome.
Okay.
That's really funny.
So BLG is basically like the only way to do certain things right now.
I'll say anything that's above, I mean, nearing that protein concentration, you need either BLG, you need a completely hydrolyzed protein, and that's the two ways you can do it.
And
Okay.
the hydrolyzed would taste extremely bitter.
It's really
Right.
good.
So it would not be enjoyable.
Okay.
Right.
I gotta put this away because I will definitely eat it. Well, all right. So we have a can here for number 5, and it's the only can on the table. Everything else is in a bottle. What influenced you to go with a can for this? What made that different?
So that's actually because it's a fizzy drink. So we put in some carbonation to it. So to mimic something like a soda, to tap into that mainstream market that is soda, we tried doing a sparkling BLG. This is with 4% protein. We have actually gone a lot higher, upwards of 10%, and that worked out pretty well. But this seems to hit the sweet spot for the market because we wanted to be price competitive.
Wow.
And
That's
this
really
just,
good.
again, reigns to the true flexibility of what BLG can offer, because you can do standard, like 6-7% protein, like other clears. You can do extremely high protein shots. As we're going to try in the next 3 samples, actually, you can do sparkling, so tackling the energy drink space or the soda space. So the range of what can be done with BLG, it's such a cool ingredient as an ingredient, but the range of what can actually be done with it, you can literally hit any aspect of the RTD market.
Yeah.
This is one of the most interesting things because
Sparkling protein.
you get sparkling, but it's a little bit thicker. So yeah, and I get why you're saying you could probably go higher percentage protein, but then it probably gets a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to like play with this and make something crazy happen here.
So what does 4% protein come out to be on like a 12-ounce protein?
Oh, so that's gonna be 12 ounces. Is that half a liter? Preston, you're the conversion guy.
So let me get that. I'll give you the exact number.
I just Google it.
It's gonna be something like 15 grams.
Okay,
Okay.
so 341 milliliters.
Yep. Seems about right.
So what do we? How do we?
341
Do we just take
4%.
4% of that and multiply
So it's about 13 and a half ish.
To get a little under 15 grams of protein in a 12-ounce drink is pretty cool. That is significant. That's very interesting.
You could either bump it up and do a 16-ounce can, or you can have just go easier on yourself with the flavor. And what if you had an energy drink that was just 10 grams of protein?
And that's where my head as a consumer goes, because I would drink it because I love carbonation. I would drink it for that. And if I can get 10 grams of protein, that's awesome.
It's just bonus.
So,
It's an energy drink that gives you a little bit of protein, but no one's like trying to break world records. It's just topping you off a little bit.
Yep.
Or I even think of like morning coffee replacements or things like ways to start your day on a better foot. Like 10 grams of protein is never going to be unwelcome at the beginning of your day to start your day, right?
For sure.
That's awesome. This is really tasty.
What if you did like traditional soda flavors? So like a cola, and you're having a no sugar cola with added protein to supplement your meals with. So just bolster up your food a little bit more.
Yeah, because a lot of the diet sodas, people are getting away from the calories, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, but they're not really like adding or replacing any of the calories with something else. This is actually a true, like not a one for one, but it's a replacement.
Muscle building soda.
Yeah. I mean, in the morning thing, there are definitely a lot of studies that show that having, I think the number is generally around the 20 gram, but having like 20 or 25 grams of whey protein before breakfast increases like all the good body composition goals. So like 10, I probably wouldn't be able to make claims. I don't know if there's any studies on that, but it definitely like could make an impact, help with the whole satiety thing and everything. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and knowing that you can make it even thinner than this, what we have here, if you just shoot for 10 grams of protein in a 12 ouncer.
Yeah.
I think so much. Yeah, that's. I'd love to take part in the like beta testing and development of one of these.
Is this a heat treated drink?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right.
So that's been through a retort or a ton pasteurization.
Okay.
Does that mean it's heated before it's poured, or while it's poured, or it was heated once and then cooled back down, or?
So it's carbonated, then it's poured into cans, and then the cans are closed, and then you put it basically into an oven to give some heat.
I see. That's really good. It's a good flavor system too. It's like a mild lemon lime that you pick that's just not overwhelming at all.
Thank you. I mean, I enjoy your comments because I actually made this one.
Yeah, no, I keep coming back to this.
This is very like Sprite 7-Up type.
Yes,
just
that was definitely the goal.
Yeah, very light and refreshing. That's very delicious.
Yeah, and after like 3 or 4 sips, I have gotten used to the thickness of it. The first drink, you're expecting soda. It's obviously going to be thicker than that. Right. But then, like now, if I take another sip, it's just it's already normalized. So
that's so funny you say that. I was going to say that I thought that it resembled the thickness of soda. It didn't resemble the thickness of energy drinks. I think that like our market has really thin energy drinks, but like if you drink like a real Coke, like there is a thickness to it too. Yeah, like if you're coming from like that mainstream, like that thickness actually might be kind of similar for you. I'm not sure. I don't drink a lot of soda, but I remember it being thicker with the syrups and stuff.
Yeah, well, and don't the fiber sodas now, those are thick too, and that's really taken off.
I gotta be honest, I have really kind of ignored that fad and not drank many of them, but I would believe that. I mean, it's got fiber in it. It would probably add to the thickness. Yeah. Mike, have you done much of the prebiotic sodas at all?
No. You know what? When Expo West is really we get to drink some of those.
We did. And this is much better than any of those.
Thank you.
This is sweetened with sucralose, I assume, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Are you guys going to be at Expo West?
We won't have a booth now.
No.
Okay. Because hang out with us. We're gonna go downstairs to the food room where you get to try out the funky sodas and crazy stuff, and you might actually get some decent ideas for the application center. But there's also a lot of like ridiculously bad ideas that it'll make for good video content. Well, at least.
We'll have a couple of our colleagues out there, so we'll definitely connect and have them maybe bring you some more of these.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, these are good. This is a winner. Interesting.
I could spend all day talking about this one. So if you guys want to move forward to 6,
that's up to you.
Well, real quick with the carbonation stuff, is there anything we can't do with this? Like certain flavors definitely not going to work? Like, are we moving into a certain flavor spectrum because of the way this is done?
I think you basically do everything right. If it fits with the most of consumers, I don't know. I think you can do a lot with BLG. That's not something I have discovered yet that doesn't work at all, and I'm actually surprised about that.
I'm thinking like cream soda could be really good here.
Yeah. I mean, the protein brings a little bit of that creaminess in the sauce, a little bit, so it might fit very well with that application actually.
Very cool. Okay, yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. So the next one is, I hope for you also, the HED shot, the green apple. Yeah. So that's actually meant for the medical market, where you want a lot of calories into people who don't really want to drink or eat anything. So it's packed with carbohydrates to have a lot of glucose in it, and then also some protein. But medical beverages in general are high in fat and high in carbs. This one is only high in carbs because it's going to be more of a juice style and more enjoyable to drink. So that's just a way to showcase you that you can also go for something with high carbohydrates that might fit with, I don't know, someone running marathons who need that carbohydrate during the workout.
That's delicious. Yeah.
Okay, so is there sucralose still added to this, or does the dextrose?
It's glucose.
Glucose, does that take care of the sweetening?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's a very glucose tasting.
That's liquid candy.
Post-workout carb-protein ratio.
I gotta be honest, I'm actually saving this for post-workout later. I'm taking a couple sips now, but this is the one I want to hold on to. This is really cool. This is I mean, I like that you're using this for the medical market because they're like, just speaking of like mainstream consumers, not many look for carbohydrates in sports, even though they should. Like, even like as much as I wish everyone would, it is hard to sell something like that to people because they're afraid of carbs often. But at the medical market, I think there are people who are really looking for calories, like you're saying. There are people who are, having wasting diseases or sarcopenia or whatever and need that, and there's a huge market for that. That is really cool.
Yeah,
so when you say, this might be a question for Preston, when you say like it's for the medical, are there certain companies that have like different licenses or anything? Do they sell into the hospitals, or they sell directly to doctors, or is it kind of, do you know how like?
I wouldn't say, and I may be wrong on this because I focus on the sports nutrition side, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily licensed, but because there are products and brands that, for example, like chiropractors are a big one, that will sell supplements. A lot of them have their own brands sold in their facilities. So it's more, I would say, just the medical community would be the consumer you're targeting. So, I mean, in theory, you guys could launch a product and then go to all the different clinics and try to sell it in there, and you'd be fine because it's not a pharmaceutical, it's not a prescription.
Gotcha. So it's more of like a marketing term, but so okay, but that's awesome because a company like Ensure could definitely be disrupted by something that's novel and new like this.
Exactly. And Ensure would be sort of that medical nutrition category, even though it's very mainstream and very broad.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's liquid candy post-workout right there. That's pretty cool.
We actually tried freezing some of those, and they're really delicious as an ice popsicle. Just a fun fact.
Yeah, I can imagine this is tasty. Yeah, I think I might be doing that after my workout. It's delicious, and I love the idea. That was really cool. And okay, well, let's talk about CKD.
Yes, so that's actually also meant for the medical market. This one is then also high in fat, so we add some coconut fat to it, and that's basically to showcase you that you can go to a kind of a milk shake style if you want to really ramp up that deliciousness.
So what is the fat source again?
Really good.
Coconut.
Oh my god, that smells good.
Awesome.
That tastes like ice cream.
That's pretty cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
How many more of these do I have?
We have nice strawberry flavor, and then I do still, of course, get some of the acidic nature in there, but it's definitely thickened up, obviously.
Yeah.
God.
And what was the carbohydrate source you used in here?
Oh, that's gonna be, I think, maltodextrin. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. And maybe some glucose as well.
Cool. And when you say coconut, is this like MCTs?
Yeah, so it's gonna be shorter change. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because the regular coconut oil would have frozen up, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is so tasty.
But yeah, so when you have the MCTs, you don't really get any coconut flavor. I mess with MCTs a lot, so that's kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
So BLG really, like, to put it simply, is the one-stop shop protein for any RTD in reality.
It's done everything across this spectrum here.
Yeah.
It's just how you use it.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting is because this, you would think you would have used a more chalky protein, but if you still use a BLG for an application that could potentially be still in the chalky realm, it's just completely different because now you're messing with you're able to thicken it through other means, like whether it's an MCT or some other thickening system. You don't need to rely on the proteins. You're going to get a smoother. It's like equally thick, but more smooth.
And you're still getting the extra leucine that you get from BLG.
Exactly.
Mimicking
Okay,
the
there's a
flavors
lot
the
of cool, unique stuff here. It's like the question is, what will work best in what market, really?
And that's a good question.
Yeah, it's got to be on brand. Mm-hmm. But there's a brand for each of these. I mean, I think this sparkling protein. This is the thing I'm most bullish on. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I think
Me
that
too.
that can go the widest. But I mean, this is delicious. I want to drink this every single day.
because if I'm on a road trip, like for Christmas, we drove 14 hours both ways and everything. I'm on a road trip. I'm at a gas station. I see an energy drink that's got a little bit of protein in it. Like that's a slam dunk. I'm buying that for sure. It kind of hits multiple use cases that I would want. And if it's in a 12-ounce can, then it's not like I'm drinking tons and tons of fluid either, which I don't want.
Oh, no.
So it would be a no-brainer.
I mean, the soda is the one sample I continuously bring home just to, drink it because I really like the taste and the experience.
Have you messed with other flavors, or do you just have a ton of the lemon lime that you've made?
Now we have a ton of the lemon lime, but I messed with a lot of different flavors. We actually had, I think you're part of it, Preston. We have something called Commercial Week where our colleagues all around the globe, they come to Denmark to our headquarters for a week. And then we have a lot of workshops and stuff like that. Then I set up a tasting, choosing which flavor should be the one for. This is actually going to be a new concept that we launch in this new year, in the beginning of the year. And we tried, I think, 9 different flavors, everything from elderberry to blackberry to mango, everything pretty wide, and this one was just the one people preferred the most. But the feedback was overly positive for all of them.
I think the lemon lime resonated more with people though, because like you mentioned, Sprite or 7-Up.
Yeah.
So it's a more familiar sparkling flavor. So I think it hit home with a lot more people.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Preston, what's going to take for management to get us up over there so we can come and mess with the applications department? Get us on one of these trips.
Sebastian's the guy to plan with. So
Oh yeah, all right.
yeah, he's the one that's hanging out in the lab. So
That would be
All right.
huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna be demanding a cream soda.
Yes.
You
I'll
can
be
do
asking my
cream
manager
soda.
if we can set something up.
Yeah.
I would love for you to see it because we really do have some excellent pilot equipment. So everything from mixing to homogenizers to different heat treatments to different fillings, whatever you can think of, we can basically do it. So we can really tailor that to what the customer wants to see and what they need to do in order to fit with the command or the TPM they're working with.
Wow.
And
that was really
so, yeah, the equipment you have, like when Christian was on talking about the protein bar stuff in a previous episode, it seemed like you have a lot of the same equipment, just maybe sometimes smaller scale or just not the super high speed stuff. What kind of equipment do you have over there in your application center? Is it?
So we have 2 or 3 different types of mixers, different mixer size heads. You can do vacuum mixing. You can do just a like standard mixer head you put into the bucket. everything high SEER because that's the recommendation. We have 2 different UHT lines that can do plate or tubular heat treatment. They can do UHT direct or indirect. And then we have the filling station. We have the retort for mimicking tunnel pasteurization. So basically, I mean, whatever we want with the up and downstream homogenization, if that's something you look into, if you're adding fat sources into your application. So, I mean, basically everything that you'll find on a full-scale production plant is what we have in just a smaller scale.
Very cool. And so, yeah, you mentioned adding fat sources. Does adding like MCT or other oils into such a drink like this, does that cause any problems at all?
Not if you treat it right, but
Okay.
I'd say you kind of need that homogenization to get your fat properly dispersed into the solution, to have
Right.
it go through the system and the heat treatment without any problems, and also to keep stable, not to separate throughout the shelf life. And of course, you optimize that by adding in some stabilizers and emulsifiers.
Awesome.
I'm gonna finish this can.
Honestly, I thought this was going to be a coffee can because I know you're doing some coffee beverages too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Does coffee, are you doing coffee stuff with BLG ever?
Not with BLG, because I think coffee is actually very low pH, so that's going to be around neutral pH, so it wouldn't really fit with that
Okay.
high acid that's in the BLG. It might, I mean, it's going to be better with the BLG compared to a standard acidified WPI because you're a little high on pH, but it's not going to fit completely. But working with ice water, the other clear ingredient that's at neutral pH, we actually made some what's called cold brew samples, just coffee, instant coffee and ice water and sucralose, and those are amazing. I mean, they're really nice. You don't taste the protein at all. It just tastes like a cold brew.
Yeah, and that was at Supply Side West, I believe, right?
At 2023.
Actually, don't remember.
Yeah,
Do you
we had the
remember that one?
micellar.
Oh, yeah, the
I think it was
micellar.
filtered too.
I'm not
That
sure
was
we
the
had.
micellar casing.
Yeah, we had the MCI, yeah,
Yeah,
the Meissen Pure, but I don't think we brought the ice water coffee.
Interesting.
I don't think
that'd
we
be
did
that'd be
have
fun
that.
to try someday. Even if Ben
Yeah.
just throws it on the stories or whatever. We a little bit of the iso water based coffee drink. That could be
Yeah.
cool.
Do you have some of those, Sebastian? We don't have any in the U.S.
I mean, it's not really a concept yet, so it's just something we made for fun. But we do have some samples lying around, I think.
Could you send me some of those samples? I'm stricken by that cold brew that you guys made years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just it was a treasure that hasn't been put out in the market. It was delicious and it was really enjoyable.
It's so nice. Did you try the yuzu tea as well?
That year we tried everything you guys had, so I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I just went down your vending machine, just boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
just all of them.
I mean, that's my job, right? I just go to the vending machine and try everything.
It's true.
Love it.
Yeah. In America, we're obviously more of a coffee culture than a tea culture. So
Yeah, for sure.
that changed somewhere. But yeah, you being international need to, stay on top of all the trends and everything. So
Exactly.
awesome.
Well, I mean, are there any other questions we can get into on this stuff? I'm pretty satisfied. This is really interesting, and I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this.
I got more of a fun question because obviously you guys at PricePlow are sort of the industry experts here in North America. So you tried a bunch of different BLG concepts. So if you had a wish list of like any brand to launch a concept like this, does anything come to mind that you're like, man, I really wish this brand would do this sparkling just because of their product portfolio? Like anybody that aligns perfectly with anything you guys tried, just your opinion on it.
I think the sparkling protein drink can work with a lot of companies that have lifestyle offerings that have like good shelf space that can put it outside of just regular sports nutrition.
I'm thinking, okay, you know how Nutrabolt recently invested in Bloom? So Nutravolt's got C4 Energy. I think like they're involved in like this. So the Bloom energy drink's doing really well at Target. I think it could fit somewhere in that market with some of their flavors. Like would work pretty well with the whole sparkling. So that's like one that'd be a big one. The question is, will it move fast enough off the shelves to like warrant space at Target?
Right.
I think. I mean, I don't know. After drinking this, I think so. you label it cool enough and people take a few sips, I don't know. And then the cost of course becomes a slight issue too. But yeah, that would be one. I can't imagine there being like C4 energy protein, but maybe.
Right.
They've tried some funny stuff over the years. If you've noticed the C4, I mean, one point they had C4 shot rocks.
I think, didn't they?
The gummies and shot
or
rocks.
No, it was the pop rocks. That's right. That's what they were.
Yeah. So like, so they do some fun stuff once in a while.
I think that as much as I love this is my favorite one for the record. This was the most delicious.
Strawberry? What are you holding up?
Yeah, the strawberry. But obviously, like, the fat content, everything. I do think that the carbohydrate addition does have a place somewhere. There is a huge surgence of endurance products right now. I think Raw could be able to handle something like this in their endurance line, or maybe a BPN. BPN just launched a hydration drink that had carbs in it. I think that there's room in the triathlon / endurance space for protein and carbohydrates. And I think it makes sense to start in the health sector, but I think that there's opportunity in active nutrition. I mean, people are spending money on prebiotic sodas. They're going to spend their money on some like these things, I think.
Well, in the carb mix too, it could be like this generation's gels. Those little gel packs that were basically like sugar and just sugar. So why not pair something functional? Because, like you said, a triathlon. I mean, you're putting your body through the ringer.
Yeah.
So amino acids in there, fast delivery, easy absorption.
I'd love to see you guys get connected with this and someone in that kind of run club culture. I think that they could live there for sure. Yeah,
I think AM Performance, they keep growing and blowing up. Like, that could be a cool concept that they might want to explore. I'm not sure if it's I guess sometimes when I think about this space, I think like the company's got to be real big or something like that, just because liquids are heavy to ship, distribution, it's a whole different game and everything. But there could obviously be niche players who run the minimum size run and just slowly sell it through. I don't know.
Well,
that was kind of what I was saying. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Mike, you mentioned would it have the sell-through for, like, say, a Target? And it's a good question, but also there's nothing like it in the market.
Yeah.
So if the right brand did it with the right connections, it's an entirely open market that they would just get slotted everywhere. So, because there's no competition.
Yeah. I was also going to say, Mike, what you were mentioning about, like, availability for manufacturing, because of this, some of these can be run cold fill, like places like Macrocap that don't run hot fill, they can do these cold fill. So it makes it more accessible for smaller brands.
And they've done great work with the shots, as you guys tried at supply side. They've sort of mastered the cold fill shot format with BLG.
Yeah. I'd love to see them try some of these. Maybe we'll make them try some for us.
Have you guys ever tried combining any of these products with BHB, the free acid BHB, or the ketones at all?
No, not yet, but it is something I've seen a lot on the market the last few years, and I'm interested in trying this for sure.
Okay, we can connect you to Rob over there and get a jug sent over, because I don't even know if it'd work. It'd be pretty cool to see someone try.
I think there's definitely a place for that, and I think we would be interested in looking more into it for sure. I would personally. Yeah,
I do know that if you eat too much protein, let's say you're a keto dieter, if you do eat too much protein, you could induce gluconeogenesis and your ketones might go down. So I'm not sure, but to me, ketones and protein are both awesome. So it's like, hopefully they could be awesome together. I'm not sure what would really happen or if you'd feel it as much.
That's something to figure out. We'll have to try it. For sure.
Cool. Okay. So that's a.
I thought you were bringing that up because the acidity of the ketones. They could also kind of like synergize for flavoring.
Yeah, or it just blows your face off. I don't know. That's what Sebastian will have to report back and send us some samples, and we'll we'll follow up.
Awesome.
Any other brands I'm thinking here?
I think that this the pasteurized, the very clear, crisp one. I think that that is probably the most widespread distributed opportunity because everyone can appreciate this. This is like legs. This is so far ahead where everything is on the market when it comes to clear protein RTDs. No hate
Sort of
towards
the next
anyone.
generation.
Yeah. I mean, just protein RTDs, or Clearway RTDs, they're good right now, but you guys keep sending us samples that are better than everything on the market.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I drink them. I'm trying not to pick any off my desk and put them in front of the camera because I don't want to insinuate that any of them are bad, but this is just better than everything on the market, remarkably so.
So all these brands and product developers listening to this, they need to hear that if they want innovation, they need to come see AFI.
I just don't understand how it's so much better. Like every time we try stuff from you, it's just so good.
Well, I think that's part of the whole innovation and R&D being in our DNA. It's just we're not going to launch a great product and then just be like, cool, we have a good product for like 10 years.
Yeah.
As soon as we launch something great, we move on to how we can do something different with it or make something better. And it's that lack of complacency that keeps us evolving and keeps products coming to market and helps just innovate the space.
Yeah. I'm excited to see this all get out there. If you're listening to this and you're a decision maker at our company, like hit us up so I can make sure your address gets sent. Because this sample right here, number 2, while there's a lot of fun stuff in here, you know, the fizz, you know, the drinks and the high protein, high carbs and stuff, like this was the takeaway for me was that this should be in the hands of more people. So I hope you guys have a lot of the samples of this because I'm going to try to get as many of these sent out as possible. They're remarkably different.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I have no further questions or anything. This has been fun. This is morning time over here, afternoon for you, Sebastian. So you'll probably get to go home after this. Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been a great way to start the day.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and nice to meet you.
You
Nice
too.
to meet you too. Thanks, Sebastian.
And as always, thank you guys.